institutes that strictly. We take it upon ourselves a little bit. It's all unwritten. Finally, I'm not responsible, or the institute's not responsible if somebody goes and drowns, but that's not the way we worry about it. We fret about it. So we want to have some rules about this, and it's very problematic if we find a lot of people just disappear and we don't know about it. That it doesn't happen, so we don't worry too much. But if it starts happening, you bet we'll start discussing what should we do. But we don't do knee-jerk stuff like let's put a guy there and take attendance. When attendance doesn't work in class, how will it work there? But the problem is, please put yourself in the shoes of any administrator if these are all issues. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just answering his question.
Sir, you spoke about sexual harassment cases on campus. As a girl resident of the campus, I would like to know who are the perpetrators of this kind of sexual harassment. Is it institute-based people, or is it someone from outside?
We have had all in the few cases that we have tracked. We have had all cases. We have had cases where the person has indicated that the harassed person indicated that she was not certain who it was, but it was definitely a student. We have had cases where the harassed person has said it appeared to be a campus resident. We have had one or two where we found out who the person was also and threw the person out. It is all cases. There are not that many people on campus who spend time here who don't belong to the campus. Okay. I mean, to be honest, we have about 1,000 odd workers on campus who are all the time construction workers, but they are all such pitiable people in such condition. They don't indulge in all this. Okay, we've never had a situation. We have theft from them, but not this kind of stuff. Okay, so they are never a problem. They may drink. I mean, that's why we got rid of labor camps. We don't allow them to live on campus anymore. But we never had that problem. But we've had problems with students. We've had problems with. You see, this you can have from anybody. I mean, God forbid, you can have it from a faculty member. Let me tell you. So, it's not that.
Sir, in such cases, would it help to somewhere publicly defame the perpetrator, because it might create a bit of shame in other people who might want to indulge in such an activity?
See, punishment is given.
If I remember, I'm currently a peer student. When I came in my first year, there were IPs put up all across about a student who had gave teased, and the name of the student was given in the IP. So when we came here, it gave us a strong, and I think he was thrown out or at least debarred in the hospital. When we came here, it gave us a very strong sense of security to see that the institute was taking such a severe action, and we were also aware about it. Unfortunately, right now we just hear about these incidents.
No, we take very severe action.
We never find out.
I'll tell you, we take very severe action. We realize that the most severe action for students is to throw them out of the hostel, not to fine them. So we are doing that. Revealing the name or publicizing it explicitly is the equivalent of the flogging of the Taliban. Okay, it is not considered a good approach. I am not an expert on jurisprudence and punishment, but I know that is not considered a good approach. We will think a lot before we do that. It may happen incidentally by word of mouth and so on, but the idea of exposing somebody and flogging them, either physically or emotionally, is not considered a good way of reforming anybody or even giving punishment.
Sir, if I remember right, on 28th March, there was a meeting with Professor LSD and with the warden of Sharavati and two other faculty members and chief security officer, and it was a meeting for all the women residents of the campus. And in that meeting, there were a couple of discussions regarding certain security measures that were going to be imposed.
Or probably.
Or proposals.
No.
Proposals.
Yeah, this was a process of consultation that he might have done. By the way, he has done it. I mean, based on the discussions we had, he has started this. It is not something.
I understand those were just proposals, but if you could just tell everyone what was discussed at that meeting.
He has to tell. I was not there, and in fact, it was not something that was orchestrated from the top. I came to know from him today that he had such discussions. This is in the spirit of open consultation.
Okay.
He can tell you, I'm sure.
Also, the second point is, at that meeting there was something called a declaration of safety that was discussed. If you could just re-articulate.
He has to tell you about all that. Okay. Yeah, he can do that. We can come to that now. But the issue is, let me make it, that's all still in the realm of discussion. We can do it, but let's come back to the focus of this, right? Because that we can discuss, and if if you want, you can even say that we start from a clean slate. We are not decided anything. And by the way, even the consultations were started with the maximalist proposal was considered was maybe we should offer escort as an option if we are able to work out a viable scheme. If we are able to work out a viable scheme, which seems like it will work, which seems like people may want, okay, as an option. Because one thing you remember, if you want me to think of put on my, let me save my backside hat, once I provide that service, at least I have a excuse. Okay, I'm not saying, I'm putting it in a very crude way, but I have at least taken the first step, in providing an option for people. Okay, so that was the maximalist. We are not at all even discussing, even when a proposal is made and let's find out what people think. We are not even discussing or making anything compulsory, because many people don't need it. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, from the situation in two different perspectives. One is yours, which is also true, where we are concerned and responsible to the parents. We are saying we are not adult, we can't behave like adult, or rather we can't be given...
Who said that?
No, I'm saying that we can't be given the freedom of an adult.
No, we are given. We are not saying that at all. You are given the freedom.
So I'm just saying that your stance for the situation is also justified, because in a way you are responsible. That is one way of looking at the situation. If something bad happens, some mishap happens, we may look at it the most negative way. While the students, a good number of students are concerned that their freedom is being curbed. Their number is also decent. Don't you think there need to be
Absolutely. Sit down. So that's the first question. What else? Go ahead.
The second thing is the reforms you are taking, or this policy. All these are some short-term measures.
Such as which reform?
So that's what.
You are telling me which one? Because we are not contemplated any.
So you have already decided the kind of protocol for the meeting where you said that individual views won't be taken.
No, it's not a protocol. Okay. I just said that if you want, you can discuss that. That's endless anyway.
Yes.
I mean, let's say you tell me that something I wrote is obnoxious. Fine. If you think so, I will say it's not. We can go on and on. What is the purpose of
right.
that?
So, as a student, we hardly come to know anything about what's happening in the institute within the administration. So, if information comes, mostly where we come to read on Facebook, say email leaks, which is not proper, or it's not professional in any way to do that, or whatever is being reported in the media, there would be some base or ground to all these views.
No,
now suddenly tomorrow all these discussion becomes proper rules. Are students going to be consulted? Can they voice their opinion? That's one thing. So don't you think there should be...
remind me what is the first thing you asked, because I am getting old. What is the first thing you asked? The reason I told you to sit down is I need to attend one at a time. I already forgotten what you asked for first. You are younger, you tell me.
The first thing was more like a suggestion that we are taking extreme
okay.
And second thing is, what if these things become proper rules and students, and right now they are being denied, and later students can hardly do anything, like the attendance rule is already there.
Sit down. Now you can sit down.
Yes, sir.
Even the attendance rule was not made without students at that time being consulted. The 85% attendance rule was not made without students. The students are always there in the Senate. They always have time to go back once. Okay? Right?
The representation of students in the Senate is quite clear. And
1 minute. Right? We can improve matters if we feel that okay, we must have a way by which the student representatives can represent the views better. We can do all that, but it is, and normally we even go beyond that. We even usually talk to students through the SAC and so on, like we did for this Shastra Sara. First thing. Second thing is, believe me, the administration is just happily pushing paper. Okay? Most of my time goes spending pushing paper and also worrying about research and faculty recruitment and so on. Right? Very little of my time goes worrying about whether you are sleeping or not sleeping, or eating breakfast or not eating breakfast, or any of our time. That's not, though some of us, I personally worry about that, but that's my personal mind. Now the point is, so we are not scheming some grand schemes. Okay, that's not at all there. Nowhere there's no history in this place of, I mean, occasionally somebody has always taken some decision and then has had to reverse it. I can tell you when I was a student also, we also went on strike and all that. It's not uncommon. But there's no history of any long-term decision being taken here which has never been done after consultation with students. Not necessarily that every time students are satisfied, but not without consulting the students. So, yeah, well, did I finish? 1 minute. The other thing you asked about was the first question was?
Yeah, the extreme views.
Yeah, so what extreme views? Extreme views of individuals.
So the point is, you have come up with certain rules.
Oh no. So we are not making rules only from our point of view. If I wanted to really go on protecting myself, I'll take attendance every night in the hostel so that if the inspector comes, I know exactly who's inside, who's outside. Okay. I will make sure that not a drop of, just go out of the way to make sure that by chance also no liquor is brought into the hostel. I'll go down a limb. Obviously the fact that we don't do that, right, we are also playing it by ear. Okay. Everybody will have a chance. I can stay here till 12 o'clock. Please don't worry. Okay. So we are not doing anything, right? A lot of rules are actually made and winked at by us also because we are trying to, we have to manage the situation in the sense that there are some rules like this. I'm just using the liquor rule as an example because there is a hard rule actually, a very clear rule. And there are people out there who are politically very, very powerful, who actually have a very strong view on this. And if I just give that as an example in a press interview, I'm telling you, you will not see the end of it. Okay, there are powerful political forces. So the point really is, we are just trying to, we obviously, as a head of the institution, we can't countenance that. Okay, we try to do what we can, but that's where it stands. So if you ask me, no extreme views are being taken. Okay, as far as I can see, right? On ragging, yes. That's because now the Supreme Court has taken an extreme view on the matter. Okay, that's what has happened. Okay. No, I think you have to give others a chance. Have I answered your first set of questions?
Yeah.
This continuing thing, you have to give others a chance. Let me go. We'll come to it.
Sir, a rule is being formed. Between the Senate and student representatives.
Which rule?
Any rule.
Any rule.
General.
Academic rule only. Senate only discusses academic rules.
So, we are publishing the rules. We are imposing the rules, and are you actually publishing the background of the rules? Are you discussing the guiding reasons or discussions which actually happen between the Senate or the student representation? Because we are common people sitting in the hostels. We don't care.
So my request is you get the. Normally we don't publish the discussion record of the Senate because we don't even take the record. But people who attend the Senate know, right? So your student representatives know it. It's a good idea to get them to summarize it for you.
Because we are getting hundreds of estimates every day, but...
No, there's no 100. We make very little rules. Okay? But, you look at the Senate minutes, most of the rules are about creation of a new course, deletion of an old course. Okay?
Yeah.
It is hardly about any such rules. But definitely the Senate representatives and the student representatives know the background, know the discussion. Nothing is kept secret from them. Only the parts where we discuss disciplinary action against students and faculty matters are where the students are kept out. So, you can definitely get it from them. Don't ask me to give a summary record when they are there.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Come back to you. Let's go to a lady now.
I'll
I'll do alternate.
There's been a lot of confusion about this 11 o'clock curfew for the Sharab and Sari residents. So please clear the administration's point of view about this curfew, 11 o'clock curfew.
Where is the curfew? You have to write down your name. That's the curfew, right?
No, but not allowing people to, Prantha said that they could just
Talk about what this Sari warden spoke about.
No. Let's talk. Is there a rule now that there's only the 11 o'clock rule, right? Okay. 1 second, Mati. They all start. To do this, I can't respond.
So the proposals were discussed, the declaration of safety for one, and also a proposed curfew if you don't have legitimate
So, we
reason.
can come back to discussing the proposals. I have no objection to that.
So if we would just put the proposals on the
No, we'll do that. No problem. I'll even say the proposals are taken off the table. No problem. What I'm trying to say is we can bring it back on the table again. We'll do that, right? But let's make sure that that's all we have left for the evening because there are lots of proposals like this. There were proposals regarding the escort, the proposals regarding this declaration of safety or whatever. We can discuss. I don't even know about it. I'll have to ask the Sharavati. These are all just at the proposal stage, right? Nothing has even come back to the administration. We can discuss it. I'm not saying we shouldn't discuss it. I'm just saying that please remember it's not even something that is crystallized. Okay, so we will discuss it. I'm not shying away. It's just that even I don't know what it is because it's not crystallized. Pardon?
Since we've already brought it
We'll do that. We'll come to that. Sit down. We'll come to that. I'll remember to do that. But there are people still discussing about how the institute functions and so on. We are still discussing that. Yeah.
So today we are gathered here because there is a sense of discontent that individual views expressed by those in the administration who are in power, they might translate into...
No, not power. You are doing some... There's no power. You are doing some work.
Okay, there is the administration,
Yeah.
might translate to institutional rules. So
Might translate, yeah.
In some cases...
It's possible.
In some cases, for example, I am a resident
No, why I'm saying it's possible is somebody may bring that up. Huh? Listen. I'll just... It's possible, so go ahead.
So I am a resident of Kapti Hostel.
Go ahead.
In some cases, the warden is already enforcing his individual views onto the residents of our hostel. Also, I wanted to know, see, there are certain views being expressed on email threads which are doing the rounds, but we need to know what are the administration's views on certain things like sexuality, because how are we supposed to interpret anything other than from comments made by those who create rules? So we want to know how.
So the administration's view on sexuality is no view on sexuality. I mean, that's honestly, I don't have any... Administration has no view on it. The administration has only one view today, one rule today, that in the... the rule is that in the hostels, right, no sex is allowed. This is a rule. It's very clear, right or wrong, that's the rule today, right? That if you're in a men's hostel, women are not allowed. If it's a women's hostel, men are not allowed. This is the rule today. This is a rule that's been there since from the beginning. That's the rule that stands today. I'm not justifying it. That's the rule today. Okay. I said women are not allowed in the men's hostel. No. They are allowed to visit. They are allowed to visit. They are not allowed to. The rule says they are not allowed to have a private relationship in the hostel. That's the rule. No, you may not agree with it. I'm just saying the rule, right? This has been there since, this has not been changed since my time. That is the rule. I'm just giving you the rule. You want to know what the rule is? That's the rule. And vice versa. Okay?
So, sir,
1 minute. Otherwise, the administration has no view. You asked a question, I have to answer it, no? The administration has no view of its own on sexuality. Individuals have views on sexuality. Okay? You can't help that. Every individual has his own view on, his or her own view on sexuality. Okay? Have you finished? No, let me finish with him. No? He's come with a paper and... No problem. Yeah, I'm not trying to... I mean, he's taken the trouble to write it all down. I
have many questions.
So then we'll take turns and come back. You ask many, 1 second. Who else? Yeah.
Some of the rules, I guess, have started as experimentation. For example,
Which rule has started? Nothing has started.
And one thing is that the internet, which started, it was earlier for a few hours, then it kept increasing, and now we have power cut on top of that. So you don't have, and plus, you don't even say how much it has actually impacted. So, for example, the 85% rule, has it actually impacted the grades or something? That kind of thing is not. Are they bearing fruit? Why are we being imposed on these things? So
Okay.
if they are not, then why are we still having those old rules?
Okay. Can I answer? So you asked about internet, you asked about 85%. Two things you asked. As an example, right? Of various rules we try to form. Okay. See, there are two threads of thought that come in the Senate when these things are discussed. These things come up for discussion every few years, okay? Because of the issues of whether it's having an impact. It's not a unanimous view, certainly. It's some sort of a consensus or a majority view that creates a rule or uncreates a rule. Okay. The attendance rule, there are two threads of thought that create the attendance rule. I have to finish answering, no? Right? One thread of thought says, as long as you're not paying for your own education, I'm just giving you the argument, right? As long as the public of India are paying for education, right? And you have come here voluntarily to take this degree, right? You will attend the classes. That's one view. You can argue against it. I am not just telling you what we hear in the Senate. I am just reporting, right? The second view says, of some faculty who have said that after they have imposed the attendance rule, in fact against their own will, against their own desire, actually the number of people who did badly, because these are faculty typically who are considered tough, the number of people who failed actually went down. Okay, and Obviously these are not results coming out of some very properly conducted, so A versus B, control group, no control group kind of test. It's not like that. Okay, we can't do that. We can't say here teach without this thing, teach with this, and let's see, same course, same teacher. Like a sociologist, we can't do that, but this is a view. Personally, if you ask me as a teacher, I have experienced that I never like to take attendance. Okay, but I found, I'll come back to you, I found in the large classes that when I was teaching that certain number of people who actually, like many others, were bright enough to pass, but they were not interested. I didn't mind them not being interested, that's perfectly fine by me, but they have, unfortunately, it's a core course, they have to do it. They are coming here, voluntarily they have come in. It's not that they are not coming. They have to get through that course, and I am not going to reduce the standard below a point. So it's sort of, it's a standoff. So I found that actually the percentage of failures went down from about 20%, 25% to about 5-10% when I did this. Okay, and in fact, I've even found that among the ones who got a cup the first time, when I talked to them and worked on them and they attended the second time they took it, some of them got Bs. Okay, so the point is there is some evidence, some of us believe that it works. Okay, in fact, let me tell you that one faculty member spearheaded an argument and proved that and showed that he said it was very important for students to attend the first week, because that's when you lay out what you're going to do for the course and everything. And he said there's no business coming 1 week late. So he said, first of all, if you start the course if you start the semester on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday or Thursday, people naturally don't want to come. So you start it on a Monday, and that's how that funny rule came, 1,500 rupees fine if you don't come on the first day, because there's no other thing. That's the only sort of mild way we can, try to make sure you come on the first day. So there was a view expressed, and a lot of faculty felt that yes, you have to attend from the first day, and you don't have the option of just coming when you like. So there is a strong thread about this notion of whose money it is and whose resources are being spent. Okay, which you can debate about, but you can't simply whitewash it. Okay, it's going to be very difficult to poo-poo that. The other thread is that actually it works. That is the answer to the first question. The internet thing came about. The original rule, whatever, the first time when internet was cut at night, came about through a task force, which was headed, if I remember right, by Professor David Koil-Pillai, who was put as chairman because he just joined the institute and he was sort of the youngest alumni faculty member, or almost the youngest, at that time, and he was having good rapport with the students. He was a GCU council and so on, so he was asked to be chairman. A lot of students were consulted, and the committee reported, the only report I remember in the Senate, that there was quite a bit of support from the students, not in terms of voting, but in terms of the people who are that. It is that lot of that it will have, they felt, a salutary effect on people not sleeping enough, right? But actually it turned out, there was a counter view expressed later that people are anyway downloading stuff on C++ and it doesn't work. Okay, it's possible also, right? The 2 o'clock, now it's up to 2 in the afternoon, huh? Internet, what is the cut? What is the current rule? I don't know.
You have cut, but in between.
No, night 12, they turn it off, then till?
Then you have 5 in the morning, you have a.
Then again during classes, right? Against it. Yeah, so then it's the same argument was used, that the same public resource argument was used, okay, that you are, first of all you pay, the public exchequer pays for these people to conduct classes for them, it also pays for the internet for them, okay, right? So this is a very powerful argument which is difficult to counter. You can counter it, but it's not a poo-pooable argument. So that is what was used. Then there was an argument that students want to work from the room. So no need to, you can come to the department if you want to use the internet. So this is the argument used. I am not saying these are immutable rules. There are enough people in the Senate also who feel that why bother with all this. This keeps going on. It always reflects finally what you might call, it's not a majority, we don't usually take votes, but you get a sense of the Senate. That's how it goes.
So my only concern here is that the views of the students is never expressed.
No, it is expressed. For example, 1 minute. For example, when the night rule was made, it was done after a very big consultation effort involving big cross-section, not just these 2 representatives of the students. Okay, it was not done that way. Modification sometimes, every time you don't go through that, but the student representatives are there. I would urge you to find ways in which your student representatives constantly take your views when they come to those meetings, and I'm telling you, if a student representative stands up and says that I want this postponed to the next Senate, I want to take the view, it will be done. Okay? It's important for you to insist that your student, it's important to insist that the student representatives do their job. Okay? They are never, the student representatives are never brushed aside. You can ask them. Okay? Finally, the view may be counter to what they want, but they are never brushed aside.
So the only point here is that this issue is not only put forward this year, as in it has been happening for the past 2-3 years, as in since I've been joining, as in 1 to 5 or something reasonable. I agree, because even
I don't know, you agree, some others don't agree.
Yeah,
so I'm willing to listen to that viewpoint also.
Sure, but during class hours, it's not that every one of us have classes, especially in dual degree we have free slots, and that doesn't.
So let me put it this way, let's take it up a further discussion. Nothing is cast in stone. We're
So
not.
the only problem is
Do you want to convert today to a discussion of all the contentious rules on campus from the past? We don't do that today. We can always take it up. Everything is open.
No, sir, my only concern is that significant part is not being conveyed. As in, whatever it is, the student's opinion is not being pushed forward.
Why? You write. If you want, you write to the administration. If you want to talk to your student representatives, ask them to convey it. We never ignore inputs from students. We never ignore.
Sir, I just want, if you can cite one example where the students, this thing has been helped in doing the policy. Can you cite an example?
I'll tell you, for example, just the recent, if you take the decision on the Shastra and Sara, right? It started out from the faculty, strong view that should happen in the holidays. Okay. Then there was a view that should happen in the first week. Initially, the students said that it would be very difficult, at least allow us to have it a little later. So we said, okay, as long as you finish it by 15th, the Senate said as long as you finish it by 15th of January and 15th of August, it's fine by us. Okay. Then they came back and said we'd like to have both in one semester before the 15th. No problem, because it meets the boundary conditions. So there was a lot of give and take in forming that rule. First rule that was proposed by most faculty members was like Bombay IIT, have it in the holidays. Okay, this was the first proposal. If Bombay can do it, why can't we? Okay, so that is an example I am quoting you just from what happened very recently. Okay, to show that a lot of give and take was done with the students. Of course, the students argued very eloquently not to change anything at all from now. But the faculty argued very eloquently that no, it can't continue like this. Okay. So I'll give an example. You asked for an example. I hope I gave you, right? I'm telling you, not everything works that way. I agree with you that in some cases the students are not, the student representatives are not probably getting their job done. In some cases, it may be that it was discussed in the Senate and they felt, sitting among so many faculty, they felt too timid. All this is possible. We can correct these things. These are all improvements in our democratic setup. There's no problem. But the mechanisms are there. That's all I'm pointing out.
Correct that democratic setup. Why do you think there is such an unfair representation in the Senate? Why does it decide the most?
See, Senate is. No, it's not a voting mechanism, by the way.
It's not a voting, but the representation is so small. 2 students.
The Senate agenda papers are sent in advance even to the students. Okay? 2 weeks in advance. No. Your Senate agenda papers, part A, are sent to the student representatives. There's no reason why they cannot convene a student meeting to discuss the agenda. There's no reason why. We're not saying you shouldn't do it. It is just laziness. No, I'm telling you. Right? It is just, finally you got to have some representatives there. Right? And we are not taking votes there. It's not, if you say, finally 2 people are being voted out every time, I can understand your argument. We are not doing that. In fact, we never take votes in Senate. We rarely decide on something unless there is a fair amount of agreement. No, you cannot see, you cannot have you have to have some representation system. We have a system, you have a SAC, you have all these things. We are the student research scholars representative and the post, who are the 2 people there? Yeah, they are getting the papers well in advance. There will be some table items, and by the way, no item in the Senate, any faculty member or reasonable, few people also feel that discussion has not happened, it should go back to the departments, or the students say, I need time to discuss the students. We never force, we rarely decide anything so hurriedly. There's no problem at all. You please set up a good mechanism for you to express your views. Right? You cannot have this, we cannot have a meeting like this to discuss everything. This is not the way to do it. Faculty also is not done that way. We don't sit